In this chapter, we're going to look at how to process XML, or Extensible Markup Language, using Python. It's beyond the scope of this course to go into too much depth about XML, but what I can say about it is that XML is a way to write documents that are both human readable and machine readable. And you do that by creating structure using markup that you can then write parsers for to have programs that can read and interpret XML documents. In this first lesson, we're going to look at how to create or write an XML document using Python. So I've put up on the screen an example of an XML document. For example, let's say you were keeping a films database or keeping track of the films you have in your library. The way you might do that is by structuring them based on the title, the director, and the year it was produced. And of course, there's other ways you could keep track of the films also. So you notice the structure that we have. Overall structure is we have films. And then for the whole list of films, we have a particular film. That film has a title. There's the title, a director, and a year it was directed or produced. Just like with HTML, we have tags. Our overall database is represented by the films tag, and it has a closing tag that goes with it. Each individual film has an opening film tag and a closing film tag. And then we have an open title, closed title, same thing for director and year. So now let's see how we would create that file using Python. We're going to write a program called writexml.py. First thing we're going to do is import a library from xml.dom.minidom. We're going to import document, and I'll show you how we're going to use that in the very next line, in fact. Like so. We're going to create an object doc that will have all of the functions that we need from the document object. So the first thing we want to do is create our films element. And the way we do that is by calling a method called createElement, and then we name it. So we call it films. Then we call a method called appendChild to add that to our document. In each element, each tag, is a child node. Think of the tags as nodes. And each element is a child node of our overall node, which is doc. So doc is the root node or the top node, and then films will be a child of doc. After we append films, we're ready to create the element for an individual film. So we're going to call that a film. So we create the element, which we're going to call film. So then after we've created the film element, we're going to append that to films, like so. So now we have the overall films, and then we have a film. Now we're ready to create the attributes of each film. The first one of those is the title. So we create an element, call it title, and we append that to a film. And now here we're going to create some text because the title has an actual title. So we're going to use a new method called createTextNode. And here we put the name of the film or the title in. And we append that as a child of the title. So even the text is a child. Every element is a child of some other node. So now we're ready to move on to the director. So we create an element called director. Append director object to a film. Create a text node with the name of the director. And then append it to the director node. Now we're ready to move on to the year. So we create a new element called year. Append it to a film. We have text for that year, so we create a text node. Append it to year. And that actually wraps up everything that we need right here. So we're ready to finish up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a file. We'll call it films.xml. F will be a file object. We're going to open it to write. We're going to write our document using a special method called toPrettyXML so that it will indent each element, and then we close the file. So that's how we create a XML document in Python. Let's save our file. Move back to the command line. and type Python write xml.py. Looks good. Now let's open it up. And there's the file. So creating an XML document in Python is fairly simple. It's mostly just a matter of creating elements and appending them to other elements in the structure that you're looking for. You can create your own structure to any document that you want. You just have to be sure that you follow the create element append child pattern for each of the elements that you do create. So now that we've seen how to write XML, the next step we have to do is see how to validate it, and that's to guarantee that it's correct and an XML parser, that's what they call programs that read XML, can actually read our files. So we're going to see how to validate our XML in the next lesson.